That is to say, given the threat and whatever happens in Ukraine, we need to increase our defense capabilities and we need to build, over the next few years, autonomous defense capabilities for Europeans.
Thank you, Mr. President. Francesco Fontamigli for Agence France Presse. You mentioned this meeting.
These are now decisions that mark a passage to action on the defensive level. With the Commission's €150 billion loan guaranteed from the EU budget, Member States will be able to receive financing at the best market conditions that will allow for short-term equipment and therefore more immediately. The decision on more flexible rules of the Stability and Growth Pact will then make it possible to free up defense investments at national level by the Member States. Several programs from the European budget, notably the structural funds, have been reprioritized by the Commission so that they can also be used for defense spending.
The proposed French nuclear option could be extended, let's say, to other European states.
And if we really want to have major European programs and have a European industrial base, we need European funding. And so, what we are going to support is that we can move towards innovative financing. So some propose to have the ESM as an underlying, but I, for my part, am in favor of looking at this solution, but also of looking at that of a European loan for defense, which would also make it possible to look more broadly at the financing of major defense and artificial intelligence efforts, the two being linked and both being key to our strategic sovereignty and our autonomy. The Russians have made it very clear what they want. They said this during the negotiations held in Istanbul in the spring of 2022, and it was recalled by several officials. No NATO, no foreign army, and a demilitarization of Ukraine, which the Russians want to see as a neutral country, which means a very reduced army format. These conditions are obviously unacceptable for Ukrainians, but for all of us. In 2025, the European Union will provide Ukraine with €30.6 billion under the Ukraine Facility and the G7-era initiative, financed by, as you know, the interest on Russian fixed assets. And we confirmed the Europeans' readiness to urgently increase our military support to Ukraine and to meet its most pressing needs for equipment. The idea that we are moving first of all towards a truce that allows us to be measured and verified, a truce in the air, at sea and on civilian infrastructure, which can then make it possible to discuss what constitutes security guarantees in the broad sense, which range from the reinforcement of the Ukrainian army to the presence of European or non-European forces on Ukrainian soil, up to other types of guarantees. Let's take a clear-eyed look at the situation we have been living for the past 3 years. Why are Europeans and everyone more broadly in this situation with regard to Ukraine? Because you have a nuclear power country which is the aggressor. And so, quite legitimately, Europe must ask itself the question of nuclear deterrence for itself in the broad sense.